a little bit of impact for you. The Champions Challenge. I've never been 100% fond of this concept, where all the champions are in one big tag team with the All-Stars, and then we do this match, and everyone has to try and pin somebody to get the opportunity to be able to go after a championship. I've never been fond of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I have not been fond of it, and usually it feels like it's a cheap, very cheap way to do a storyline. I'm being honest here. When you look at the Champions Challenge from Impact, it truly feels like it's a cheap way, instead of building the people that you want before a major pay-per-view, you just give them this situation so you can get it done quickly instead of actually doing the damn work. And that's what it feels like here. This is what it feels like. You literally, the men's champion challenge was fine, but the women, legitimately, it shows they didn't book the women correctly, and it also shows so few women in the Champions Challenge because it doesn't feel that important. Honestly, it would have been better for a tournament for the women. But let's move on. First, let's talk about AJ Francis dealing with a guy where he's crushing his hands saying, "Where's my contract? Where's my paperwork?" And he said, excuse me. And he says, I'm sorry, it's not good today. It'll have to be next week. All right. Better be ready next week. And he's crushing his hand. So the story of Elijah dealing with AJ Francis in a musical kind of way is still going forward. I am not really feeling the feud yet, but we don't know what they're going to do with this. We just don't. So it could be something interesting, or it could be a flop. Don't know yet. So, but I am going to mention it because it needs to be mentioned. Next, let me talk about, I got to talk about this. I don't know about you guys, but Sacramento, California has been a wash for Impact Wrestling. Well, not Impact. I guess the reason I say Impact instead of TNA, because we're watching Impact. This isn't a pay-per-view. This is Impact. And right now, I'm saying it right now, I don't know if you like what's going on. I do not. The camera work that's going on in Sacramento is shit. We got them now. When you saw one of the matches, any of the matches, not only they're doing the zoom-ins. When it came to the women, I could talk about this at the end, but I'm not going to because I want to mention and talk about Xia Brookside and Ling Yang Li. But you literally, I cannot believe that when it came to Header by Elegance, and then when it came to who was the other person that was dealing with it, was it Mara Sade, I believe? No, it wasn't Mara Sade. I believe it was M. No. Yeah, I think it was M. No, Heather and Mara Sade. And when they were kicking one another in the corner, like trying to stomp a mud hole in them, just like I always said, what they do? What the fuck? And that wasn't the camera zooming in and out. They did zoom in and out. The cameraman was going like this, wiggling the camera up and down to try and keep up with what the fuck are we doing here? They say that Scott D'Amore's work when it came to production was bullshit. And I agreed with them. For many years, the only thing they needed to do, instead of doing exactly like they always do, which is WWE Light, do exactly like Vince used to do it, up close and personal. Go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they copied it. Now, instead of doing like I always said, it was never the equipment. Only thing they need to do. You see it like this. That's how Vince used to do it. That's how Scott D'Amore used to do it. That's all that was needed. A wide camera shot. But no. They refused to do it. And now it looks like they're going back to it again. What the blue fuck are they doing? They're doing exactly that complaints were made about Scott D'Amore. It's like they don't care. I'm sorry. If it's just because it's Sacramento, and it could be. It could be just for this situation in Sacramento because we gotten almost a month of recordings here. If it's in another venue, in another state, and they do it again, I'm going to say they're doing it on purpose. But it could be just because of this group of tapings, which it is possible. But I'm going to call it out. They should have never done this. They're acting just like it when it was with Scott and everyone complained about the camera work. You couldn't see what was going on in a ring. Half the time, the camera was narrow. How are you going to see what's going on, particularly with the Champions Challenge, which is the first match, which we got all the champions, the System, you got Ali, and you got Mike Santana, and then you have the All-Stars. You got Leon, you got Kaz, you got Casey Navarro, and you got Eric Young, who already has a title shot, could not get a double title shot if he pinned a Mike Santana, which was good. They did mention it, but he could get an exhibition championship match. He can get an international championship match or a tag championship match. You just got to find someone to be his partner, which could have been a Steve Macklin. The match was fine, but we got Casey Navarro. This I did not expect. I thought they would try and do something with Leon Slater, maybe with the International Championship. At least let him have a little exposure on another title. Because he already said in the interview that he feels lone, empty, like he's being forgotten. And if you're going to expand on that story, Leon Slater could have been picked to go and be the next person to go up against Ali. Now, that could be a couple of weeks from now. We could actually get that. We could actually get him going against Ali at Slammiversary, which we're not too far away from. It's a little bit more than a month, but they could do it. And I'd be fine with it. But we got KC, which is okay. I'm kind of glad that KC got this moment where he could win the title. He looked shocked, like, which was not bad acting. But KC winning this was all right. I didn't have a problem with it. I'm fine with it. Now, let's go to the next match. Tessa Blanchard versus Harley Hudson. Now, I'm going to tell you, I like Harley. I have not seen her much because I don't watch Explosion. I do not watch Explosion. And most of the time I forget that it's on. I'm being honest here. I have other things I do. And I forgot all about it. So her and Gray on I just wish that it would feel more important than just less than a one match that's on Explosion, where they just show repeats of everything else that happened on Impact. I would rather see Explosion as its own show, just like NXT was, and you're really putting over the wrestlers, not just replaying old clips of old TNA or current TNA or what was going on this week in TNA. I want to see a real show. It just doesn't feel like it. That's the reason why I didn't watch it anymore. Because whenever they did show it, because they leave it exclusive for members, which I'm not, then they show it to everybody. But honestly, it feels like it should be more. They should just make it into a real show that's 1 hour long. It would really help the company because you'll be able to give the other wrestlers something to do. But when I see Harley, I think she's interesting. And it's not her hair. To be honest, and I'm being honest here, I don't like her hair. I don't like the color of her hair. I truly believe that takes away from her natural beauty. She's not an ugly woman. She's actually a good-looking woman, and I truly believe whether she's gay, lesbian, bisexual, I don't care. I don't know if she is. Or just wanted pink because she loves pink. I really believe that she does not need that hair. She needs to just go back to her natural hair color. Either it's black, or maybe she wants to have a red head, or she wants to be blonde. I don't care. She just doesn't look good in that color. It just doesn't work. And then she went up against Tessa Blanchard. And since there was that incident last week, we get this match this week. And they tried to explain that Harley legitimately gave up everything and moved from the UK to the United States. Welcome to the US. She's going to be a resident. She gave up her life in the UK to come to America. Hopefully she's happy being here, or hopefully that more will happen for her. But as it stands right now, in a wrestling sense here in TNA, she's a jobber. And that's the major issue she has. She's a jobber. Now, it could be due to the fact of her trying to move to America, because it's not easy coming to America from another country, particularly the UK, where they're having a lot of problems. I'm not getting into it. Not talking about politics. The UK right now has a lot of situations going on, legitimately. A lot of upheavals. Not saying what's good or bad. And it's not easy trying to get things sorted out to get a visa into the United States. It's not easy. So, seeing that she has now moved here, she probably had problems getting all that sorted out. That's one of the reasons why she's been a jobber. But now that suppose she's in America, probably a resident, hopefully they'll use her more. She worked well in the ring. She looks good. But here's the thing. What would they do with her? That's the big question. If this is the first true exposure of... Well, let's see it like this. This could be the moment where she breaks out. Having this match with Tessa, who is a 2-time champ, and yes, she got her ass handed to her, you could do a program between her and Tessa, even though Rosemary Alley and Marriage Sage are still having a situation with her. That you could do something with Harley. But it's going to be a big question, will they? Let's move on. Next match. The match, I'm like, what are they doing here? Instead of making this special, which they could, where I think they should have, it's like they just wanted to get it over with. Stacks versus allergies. Santino Marella. Excuse me. You see, I told you. Usually when I cough enough, I begin to sneeze. But why here? Why? Why are we here? Why are we here, guys? I'm sorry. Let's get this perfectly clear. I don't get it. Why did they do this here? If Stacks is supposed to be important in the story between Ariana Grace and her dad, wouldn't it have been better to keep trying to mess up everything, not let the match really get anywhere? Why not? And I'm just like, you could set this for Slammiversary. Unless it's going to be some type of special stipulation. They could be. They could be doing these matches like, look what happened. The match was fine. Santino looked good. He lost the match because of Ariana. Then he got his butt kicked and Indy wanted to help, which she came out to try and protect him. Said, let's have a match now. You can see Ariana Grace not dressed and her nipples were hard. I'm not trying to be sexual or nothing, but it happens in wrestling for men and women alike. When they're in the thick of it, they get excited. It happens. I kind of wish that she would notice that, or someone would tell her to wear pasties over her nipples no matter what clothes she's wearing. Because then she doesn't have to worry if an incident like that happens where her breasts become highly, or where she gets highly aroused and her breasts show themselves. She looked like headlights like this. You know what I'm talking about. But you can understand what I'm saying. Hopefully someone would tell her after she sees she probably already saw the footage. Maybe someone would tell her, wear pasties over your nipples so you don't have to worry about someone seeing your nipples. If you don't like them, you get upset. Unless she's that type that doesn't mind it, maybe she'll learn the lesson. But now, next week, we're getting a match between both couples. Santino and Indy and Stacks and Ariana Grace. Where does this lead? If it leads to Slammiversary, where there's a special stipulation match between Stacks and Ariana Grace, and maybe a Shark Tank. I know that's going there. Yes, it's the only thing I could think of. That Ariana Grace, the only way to stop her is to put her into a Shark Tank and have the match. And she feels so screwed. It's the only thing I could think of that could be a blow-off to this entire situation. Because, honestly, there's nothing else that can be done. There's no title for Santino to take off of Stacks, which would stick it to his daughter. It's not like, unless he says, if your man doesn't win, I'm disowning you. And you will not use the Santino name. That's the only other thing I could think of. Moving on. Okay. Eddie Edwards versus Weichner, the former Violano Vinci. He got the rub. Let's make it very clear. I could use that as a title, but I'm not going to. Look, Fabian, I think his name is Fabian Weichner. I'll remember his first name eventually, guys. As I told you, I'm bad with names. At first, it takes me time. I'm bad with names. I'm just bad. But I'm going to tell you this. Did he look great? Yes, he did. He looked like a monster. Yes, he did. Did he get his ass handed to him and he got a DQ win? Yes, he did, because they don't want to have Eddie Edwards lose. They're willing to let Weichner just get his ass kicked and have a DQ victory. Is it a hollow victory? Yes. But does it mean they're doing a story with Weichner dealing with the system? Maybe. Because they still got to contend with Moose, who is still out. He disappeared because he got his butt kicked. So I do not know. Are they going to have a long-term feud with him in the system? Which might be the wisest thing, because he needs something to be done. If they don't give Weichner something to do, he's just going to sit around and do nothing. And it'll be almost like he was back in WWE. I don't want to see that for him. I want to see him actually be utilized like AJ Francis. Look what happened with him. You may not like AJ, but he proved you give him the opportunity to make something of himself. He has. He's gotten over first class. He got over money. Yeah, baby. Yeah, he got it over. I still don't believe he should have been doing Tennessee. Look, I botch for a reason. I'm not against him. If he saw this, say, dude, I'm not against you. I've been talking about you. Yes, a little guy like me. A little guy who in real life, you would be here, I'd be here. I'm an old man walking with a cane who's like this to you. But I've always said that it was not fair what they did to you in WWE. They legitimately harassed you. And it was wrong. You could take it, I'm sure you did. But you didn't deserve it. You didn't. But as I said, you should have put away Tennessee whiskey for like about 6 months to a year. You didn't have to keep proving it. Because it didn't make you better. What made you better was doing other things other than Tennessee whiskey. Showing that you're a damn good big man. You're not one of the greatest. The only greatest one in history is Andre. That's not meant to be disrespectful for you. He's the one who set the trend for every big man that's ever appeared. All the other big men were molded after him. The big boss man, Diesel. When you want to talk about anyone else, when you talk about Paul White, The Big Show, any big man, Kaz, you, all of them were based off of him, showing that a big guy like that can move in the ring and do some amazing stuff. And you've done a good job, but I do wish you had not used Tennessee whiskey so much. It didn't really get it over with me. Not that I hate the move, I just believe you didn't need it. You could have shown every other thing you could do and then come back with Tennessee whiskey and surprise everyone. That's the way it's supposed to be. Surprise them. But that's me. But when you see the situation with Wagner, I do believe they may do something with him. Hopefully they will. Now, let's finally talk about the women. The Women's Champion Challenge. Xia Brookside, Mara Sage, and Lena Black versus Ling Liang Li and the Elegance brand. Let me give it to you like this. No, I don't think it was Mara Sage. I think it might have been Xia Brookside who was getting a mud stomped into her, and then Heather did it right back at her. The one that looked the most best was, and by Elegance, she decided to do a coast to coast, which she did pretty damn well. But here's the thing, where I said in the beginning that it looked, and I didn't forget about Mr. Elegance going against Darden. I mean, let's make it clear. He put his ankle on him. He did the ankle lock. I think I got a shot of it into my face. Next to Ariana Grace's image of her titties showing, nipples showing in her titties, I may show that one where he's screaming in agony. That was done. It didn't look bad, but I don't want to see another celebrity have a moment. Maybe they'll do it at Slammiversary, which I'm not really fond of, but it may happen. But let me get you like this. M looked good. She looked the best out of the lot. But we got Ling Yang Li having to do a match with Xia Brookside, where the only thing really needed to do was not have a Champions Challenge. You could have had Mara Sage and Elena Black team up to try and get the Elegance Brand's title. Either one of them, and they, next couple of weeks, going into Slammiversary, they have to go to each other and say, look, I need a partner. I need something unique. I need someone unique. I need someone good. Come work with me. Let's do this. We know each other. I know we don't always agree, but come on, we're both the best, and the Elegance Brahmins, they're garbage. We can beat them. And Elena Black probably said, this Mara Sage, or Elena Black, and both of them have to take a little time to think about it, but they say, okay. But we're not friends, but we will hold these titles. And they agree. That would have been better than Xia Brookside getting the shot. It's lazy booking. I understand with Casey Navarro. No one expected Casey to get the pin on Ali, which is a nice thing. But here, where they already got a story, which doesn't need her getting this shot, Xia Brookside would have gotten the shot anyway because Ling Yang Lee wants to get her hands on her. That's all they needed to do. Continue having the conflict between the two before finally Xia Brookside pisses off Ling Yang Lee so much she says, I'll give you a title shot at Slammiversary. Why not do that? Why? Why not? Explain the reason why you couldn't have booked either Elena Black or Mara Sage winning and then giving them the shot. It doesn't mean they have to win it. It's just at least they get something. Something that will put them both on TV. Elena Black goes to... Hey, how about this? You get Elena Black pinning. Either... I think Heather would have been better than M. And then she finds out she gets a tag shot. But she has no one she trusts. No one she knows that is in Impact. That's on that roster except one person. The one that she had the feud with. She goes to her and says, look, I want to talk to you for a minute. Let's not fight. Look, you and me, we'll never be friends. I don't give a damn about you. Because I don't trust you. Because you didn't go through the same thing as me. But, I see how athletic you are. You beat me. It's cool. I know it. I need someone to team up with me because there ain't nobody else, none of these heifers even stand a chance to be able to get a chance to get those titles. But I know you and me can. And then it's on Mara Sage to decide to do it. Why not do it? Give these two women TV time to get them more over. You barely see either one of them. And I'm like, what is the point of letting Xia Brookside win the challenge, Champions Challenge, where she's going to get an automatic, legitimately automatic world championship because Ling Yang Lee wants to get her hands on her? It made no sense to do this. It was a waste of time and it was lazy. Lazy booking. But this is just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.